Today's guest is a hematologist, an oncologist, so not only a physician, but a very experienced real estate syndicator, real estate investor himself. Everybody, please welcome to the show, Sanjay Sharma. So we are here spread across the United States today. I'm excited to have our guest here today. So let's start off by telling the listeners a little bit about your medical career so far.
Sure. So my medical career. I'm a full-time hematologist oncologist in Southern California. I've been doing this. I graduated medical school last century. So I've been a doctor for 25 years or so, and I've been a hematologist oncologist, finished fellowship in 2005. So I've been in this practice for 19 years.
Before we leap into real estate, I want to learn a little bit more about why real estate. I mean, when did you start? Because everybody, works to become a physician and to live that life. What were some of the hangups that you found that kind of pushed you outside of the medical world and into other avenues for revenue generation?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that it was hangups in medicine. I love what I do. I love managing patients, cancer survivors, and treating them and being with the families. I truly, truly love that and the research that's done. I've always had this entrepreneurial itch. I've always wanted to see what else is out there. I've never been convinced that the easy path, if you will, in terms of finances is the right path to go on, in the sense of put your money in a 401k, let it sit. I do believe there's a whole industry behind it, which makes people, it's very successful. I mean, I see it with my family, I've seen it with my parents, but I really think that there's more out there. And I didn't know what those avenues are. It just took some time and it took some exploration to figure out that, yeah, real estate is what fits my interest in terms of my risk profile. If it's my risk profile, actually, I would say that plays a big role into it, because I find that you can, that real estate, if done appropriately, can be really a risk mitigated type of financial vehicle.
And you moved into an active investor, going into the duplexes, triplexes, quads, and then into multis. I think that's a great approach. Would you suggest that approach for other people as well? Mm-hmm.
So in the discussion I had with my sister today, one of her daughters is in college, and we're talking about, well, how do you decide that path? You can experiment, you can do what I did, where I read and I study, which is the nature of all physicians. But what if you have mentorship? What if you get someone early on? And this is something I think I would have done earlier on. If a decade ago I had greater mentorship than me trying to figure it out on myself, I think I would have moved faster, because my intentions were always to grow big, to do big deals. As much as I love the duplexes and triplexes, I knew even while I was doing it, and they were very lucrative, even while I was doing it, I was like, this is not enough. This is not enough. So do I recommend a person to go along the same path as I did? Not necessarily, or in what you were saying, kind of taking stepwise. One thing, I never bought a single family residence as an investment. I don't know. I mean, I think if you get true mentorship, or if you get mentorship and you can try to understand what you want to do, maybe you can start much bigger. Or maybe if you're in a particular asset market, there's a lot of people who are very, very successful and do fantastic in single family residences. And a lot of us in our field, especially in the MD entrepreneurship and kind of the MD influencer, we always talk about that. Okay, what are you seeking? What are the freedoms you're seeking? And is real estate one of those avenues in which you can reach that? And if so, what particular asset class? And how do you become an expert in it? There's no doctor who said, I'm kind of going to be a doctor. We all said, I'm going to be the best that we can, we absolutely can be. We all sought out the best training, the best techniques, all that kind of stuff.
Real estate is the business of relationships, and leveraging relationships is so important. Just like we leverage technology, we leverage systems, all of that stuff. How are we vetting people? And not just our partners, Sanjay, but how are we vetting mentors to take these quantum leaps in a path to turn it to the path?
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic question. Like, how do you, that mentor-mentee relationship is So important. Again, going back to medicine, this is how we learn. This is when you're a med student, you look up to your intern. When you're an intern, you look up to your resident to your attending, et cetera, et cetera. So this is kind of how we're designed as physicians to think and to learn. When you go into entrepreneurship and you go into real estate, it's a different field because you really don't know who's good and who's not good. I think the way you learn is you start networking with people and you start understanding who are the people who have similar ideas. In terms of my partners, we were able to understand each other because we had similar interests. And that always comes up in conversations with us, and why we joined together. We're a physician-owned company is because we had similar interests. We had similar values.
Tell us a little bit about the advantages that you have at that price point per unit.
Well, I'll start off by saying I wish I would have found the 80, 100,000 units to begin with. that would have been much, well, not easier to do, but more palatable in terms of the capital that you need to bring.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm in Southern California, so it's prices don't scare me as much. I'm used to this. I'm used to, and I recognize that per square foot, we're a whole heck of a lot more. My personal home per square foot is a whole heck of a lot, compared to other parts of the country. So you start out by saying, well, that's the baseline. So you don't really think past that. When I first started investing, I didn't want to go outside of my own backyard.
Yep.
And that's what the prices are here. So just by nature, I went in there. Secondly, I remember one of the first LinkedIn posts I posted however many years ago. I talked about, people ask for where are the deals, and I'm like driving around and I got my phone and I'm just filming. I was like, these are all multifamily. Doesn't matter what street you're on. There are multifamilies everywhere. And we're a big city, Orange County or a big county. LA is a big city, but
Yeah.
we're not New York City, which has skyscrapers and stuff. So deals are everywhere. Secondly, I recognize what the market is. There's always going to be a need.
So if you're in at $1,000 a unit income and you've got so much capital out, that's got to be hard to cash flow sometimes, right?
Well, the deals I did in Southern California, we always cash flowed. I mean, another thing you're referring to is we have significant appreciation in Southern California.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all around us. So yeah, our deals, I mean, if you have a cap rate of 3 and you just
Wow.
bring up your NOI a little bit, that's a healthy appreciation
Mhm.
that you get. So, the first deals I did in Southern California, yeah, they were expensive, but they paid off well.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I mean, dealing with a duplex here versus dealing duplex somewhere else is the same degree of, intellect, the same degree of
Yeah.
property management, etc. And then the other thing we're doing is we're building for physicians and professionals. We're not building student housing.
Mhm.
So everything kind of clicked. And then, like when I was telling you that we, like Type 3 Capital, we always want to partner with people who are at a different degree or a greater advance than us. So we partner with development partners that have been doing this and have done billions of dollars. And then they are also partnered with institutional level investors. So it's not just me doing the spreadsheet, doing the underwriting, it's institutions, pensions underwriting these deals. So I keep stacking on stacking on stacking, making this a more risk mitigated type of investment. And so that's how we're able to do it.
What does that look like for, say, those first 2 years when there's no income being generated, right? There's 4 years and then it's fully leased. So what's the payout and that preferred payout kind of structure look like on a development project?
Yeah. So you're separated, understandably, from a cash flowing existing multifamily where you invest in and then you're getting cash flow, or if you're not cash flow right away, very soon. Whereas this one, you're waiting until the end, until the cash flow. So yeah, so we're not giving out dividends until this is done,
Right.
until we have cash that's coming in. There are points for our early investors because when we break ground, we're going to recapitalize the deal.